Yes, guys, not a great deal of price action over the last 24 hours. However, that might come with an opportunity, so I'll walk you through the charts now. Let's go. All right, guys, so there's not a great deal to do with short-term price action. We have a plan, and we're going to stick to it in terms of where we're going to look to get active on Bitcoin, which is up in and around this key level here, where the blue zone is. We may see some opportunities arise real intraday, which I'll keep you guys in the loop with, but there won't be much volume heading into the start of this week, which is clear right off the back of what we've seen last week. Usually once you have some sort of move like this, the market sort of digests it and there's a little bit of indigestion, right? A little bit of uncertainty, people trying to rebalance portfolios and so on and so forth. But I want to talk about the story, right? Because we've come back to revisit these April 2025 lows, which are, it's crazy because I remember trading that period like it was yesterday, okay? Market was uncertain last year. There was this interest rate narrative which kept getting pushed back. There was geopolitical uncertainty. However, it's kind of ramped up quite significantly now. The only difference between last year was we were off the fallback of a very, 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 very positive, from a morale point of view, end of 2024. We've kind of lost that now, right? So the market is a lot more wounded, and there's a lot of scars, especially off the back of this October the 10th period, where we kind of had that awful sell-off which liquidated billions from the market, and a lot of people were hurt. That was quite a tough time for many people, right? So that's what's led to this lag in the S&P, right? This is just my plain S&P chart. We should not be lagging like this behind the S&P. In fact, we've kind of been trading uncorrelated to it, if anything, which is interesting because they should be viewed as risk assets, both Bitcoin and S&P. Bitcoin seems to be a bit more of a kind of niche indicator for overall risk sentiment, and it's not boding well, is it, right now? Because we've kind of traded back into where we were in April when we had that really impressive bullish run, momentum and hopium started to come back into the market. Bang, took another kind of humble pill, we all did, and now we're back trading at these lows. Yeah, so there's a few things we have to consider off the back of that. It's this bounce here is very different to this bounce, I think. And look, this was my worst trading period. Anyone who was in Cryptonary knows this. I think I lost 10 trades on the bounce, right? Not just BTC, other assets as well. But you have these periods. I turned it back, turned it around, done really well. However, this was my worst period. And you guys know me, I do a lot of refinement. I do a lot of self-reflection. I do a lot of journaling. I'm still not convinced, though, that we get a bounce such as this one, where we start to then trade higher. I think that due to the length of kind of muted sentiment in terms of positive sentiment, it's been very muted. Uncertainty's there. We've had gold and metal sell-off. I think there's a lot of overall uncertainty. I would get bullish, okay? I think where I went wrong last year was I still remained bearish off the back of this confirmation back into ranges. I was relatively still bearish here, to be completely frank. I just was not convinced we had what it took to blow off top on Bitcoin, and I stayed wrong for too long. In trading, you're not made off one trade, right? You're made off the series of trades and the strategy and the overall direction that you're kind of mapping and playing. So if we were to trade back into this region again, this is a very, very key price point. If we were to trade back into this region willingly, okay, and then even more so, again, back into this region willingly, 93,065 with strong weekly closures, you go perma, mega intraday bull, right? You're looking for longs, or you're looking to short really intraday on the kind of relief sell-offs or the exhaustion, right? We'll go into that more in deliverance when we're being a little bit more nitty-gritty, but overall direction is here. As long as we're trading below this range, and we see this as a level of resistance, I will be looking to intraday short the market, okay? And it depends on how exhaustion comes into this level, yeah? How exhaustion comes into this level and how price action on the short-term timeframes come into this level, or and beyond as we start to climb into this blue box region, which I'm going to copy and paste over to here so that we can see it on our intraday chart, right? But like I say, that we have to really look at this price action on the 1 hour chart. It really shows, this kind of lack of buying volume when you see these huge sharp sell-offs intraday. Like the market knows where it's going. Buyers were stepping out, sellers were stepping in with aggressiveness. And that momentum is very, very clear. And this is I think this is a daily fair value gap. Yes, is it? It's a fair value gap, maybe on the 4 hour. Yeah, there's a fair value gap among here somewhere. I remember I put it in. However, overall, we're seeing the pattern, and we had this huge kind of attempt to get out the market, and then it's just been met with sells. So we're going to play the market for what we see. We're trading below the daily EMA, the daily 20 EMA, and the 50 SMA. So it's just bearish, right? Would I short here? No, we're oversold significantly on the daily time frame. We haven't been like that since November. We had a sharp bounce off, and also the last time was back in March 2025. You do usually see some sort of bounce. What I'm anticipating, I wouldn't buy that bounce though, just because there isn't the risk to reward there. What I am buying is spot. Okay, and I bought a spot yesterday, or I think yesterday, or might have been the day before. You could argue to take some level of trade here, and I think it's an okay position. But like I say, it's opportunity cost. You just don't mess around with it, guys. You know what I mean? You have a plan and you stick to the plan. And sitting on your hands and waiting around is boring, but that's what works. So we're going to wait and allow the market to kind of trade through this low volume, which is going to be likely. There is a nice strong daily fair value gap here, so we can anticipate the market will slice through. Oh, that was it. Yeah, the market will slice through here, and then we have the daily fair value gap here as well. Okay, so low volume into this fair value gap. I think we will see that move higher. You could say, Mal, why don't you long? I like to kind of be in a line with my overall bias. In deliverance, when we do get a little bit more nitty gritty, you will see counter trend trades and counter trend kind of price action, but we need to be a little bit more kind of thorough with that. These videos aren't frequent enough, to be completely frank, and we need to be live trading, which you guys will be happy to know is going to come in deliverance. But in terms of the intra-week kind of positioning and intraday positioning at the kind of sub-level, this is going to present a really nice opportunity, I believe. And if not, it will reclaim and give us an incentive to look too long off the back of a pullback or a breakout trade back into the range, which very, very low hanging fruit. I don't think that's going to be the opportunity we take. So, yeah, that's where we are, I think. That's how I'm playing the next week. Let's see if we get an opportunity come. If not, we don't. I am going to start to introduce some ES and NQ videos, probably just get the frequency of some trade recaps and more trade stuff coming out, because this is going to be quite a slow week off the back of this move. It's a shame that we didn't really capture that on the videos, but it is what it is. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next one. Nice one.